Welcome to Geeks Between Worlds, the crossover podcast where pop culture collides.
Welcome to Geeks Between Worlds. I am your host, Oscar Lucio. I am with Steven Scotthorn. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic.
I'm pumped. You want to know why?
I'm pretty pumped.
Dude, I'm more pumped.
I'm terrified.
I'm 10 times more pumped than you are.
10 times.
10 times. We had to get you a monster before this podcast because of, because
Still here.
you were so unpumped, and I was like, I gotta pump you up. I gotta fucking pump you up. So we're pumping you up, and you want to know why we're pumping you up?
You were the one that needed to get pumped up too.
Dude, I'm fucking pumped. Do you hear my voice?
You were just playing
I was hidden.
Resident Evil VR. That's why you're pumped.
That is why I'm pumped.
That's why you're pumped.
Yeah, see, what it was is I've been like Yoda. I've just been concealing the pumpedness, and I've just been like being chill. And now I'm just like, boom, I'm letting it out. I'm fighting Dooku. I'm letting it out. Yeah.
Chopping off his head?
Whatever needs to happen.
I mean, when Palpatine tells you to do it, you do it.
I'll do whatever.
Good.
Yeah.
Making sure.
So, Resident Evil 7, Biohazard. Do you like that? Biohazard? And Across the Seas, it's Biohazard Resident Evil.
I do like that.
Do you like that?
Do you like the fact that it's Resident Evil 7? No.
It does feel like a new IP.
Yep.
We were talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a new IP than it is Resident Evil. Absolutely. I mean, they do a lot of the things the same, like the ammunition, like the storage system, getting the little heads for puzzles, things like that.
It's still fantastic that they do that.
It sprinkles that world into it.
But it's still new enough that they should have just called it, a new slate.
A new slate, or maybe even just not even and just called it Biohazard, and they make a Biohazard game, and then Across the Seas they just make a Resident Evil game.
I think that's a little too much. I don't think we'd be ready for that.
What?
I don't think we would.
What?
Just everyone would be like, hey, do you want to go buy that Biohazard game?
Maybe you're right. Yeah, that's pretty.
I'd say no. And then they'd be like, I think it's Resident Evil. Then why isn't it Resident Evil? And then
all right. You
sells 4 consoles.
You got me. It sells. 4. And supposedly it's selling well. So
it is.
So we'll have to see.
Exactly.
So you played it without VR first. Now tell me your kind of process. What did you think of it?
All right. This game is purely, it's fantastic, but I have to admit, I am playing it on the Pro in 4K with HDR, so I feel like that is definitely kind of changing my opinion on it. I wouldn't expect it to, but no, the game is beautiful. The HDR has some of the best settings I've seen for HDR.
That's what you text me right away. You're like, HDR settings off the chain.
Exactly.
I was like, dang.
No, like and it's like the normal kind of settings where it's like, match this with this, but instead of like match the color and the brightness, it's like match the HDR, kind of like the hot spot of it, and it I really feel like it actually changed the way that the fucking game played right after that.
And that's good because you've played other games, and I definitely know that you were like, oh, I don't know if this could look the best. Mm-hmm. And like even with Final Fantasy 15, you had to cycle through all of these settings before you're like, yes, this is what I want.
Well, I think that Final Fantasy, it actually suffered from the fact that it didn't have HDR settings. It did have HDR, but I feel like it kind of messed the game up a little bit. So the fact that I was able to change it myself, and this actually really just kind of made it pop that much more. But I mean, just besides just the HDR and the 4K and stuff, like this game is amazing. Like it's fantastic. I'm loving it. I haven't played it in VR. I just played a little bit of it. And it completely changes the game too. Like the amount of 3D space you have, I'm like completely thrown off by this game. It keeps blowing me away in every turn I take, like completely.
Now there's a lot of puzzles I've already noticed. Just like the demo. What do you think of those? I feel like when I'm in VR, so far I've played the game 100% through VR, and I am like just before the third boss. I've gotten to like my regular enemies now to where I'm like killing the same like whatever molded monsters, and so it's fun. They keep scaring me. It's nice. I'm kind of starting to understand like the game more now, because at the beginning it's more like the survival horror. Now it's a little bit more Resident Evil. You know?
Exactly.
And I've noticed that these puzzles are really in the Resident Evil fashion. What have you thought about the puzzles so far? Do you think they're too easy, a little too hard? I felt like if you wouldn't have told me a couple things, I'd have been kind of like turned around or lost for a bit.
Yeah, no, there hasn't been. Yeah, for the puzzles, there was really mainly that one, and there's been a couple of others so far, and like they're definitely a little complicated, not too bad, but I mean, I think the part that really throws me off is really the keys. So,
Yeah.
which is a puzzle in its own, but yeah, that's the part where it's just you're trying to get to another room. You know how to get there. Like I've traveled through this area so much that I know every room on the map. But once I get to a door where I'm like, I know this is where I have to go and I can't get through it because of some sort of key that I missed, that's the part where it gets terrifying, especially since once you kind of progress through the game, eventually you are not in that house alone.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to go back and try to look for this key while you have another enemy kind of roaming the house with you. And it just, again, it completely just throws you off. And
Now, see, I noticed that with like Resident Evil 4, 5, 6 even, the games are really linear, you know? So actually when we were unlocking keys, when I was in VR and I got like my Scorpion key and then I got the other room's key, you know, and I did the morgue little puzzle, I realized I was like, wow, you know, I have to travel all the way through the house if I want to do this. But it did also like let me progress if I wanted to as well. Yeah. And it was like it really gave you those options that I really probably wouldn't even have noticed sometime. And I got that Scorpion key, and yeah, right away I was like, wow, I was like, this is like way early in the map. So yeah, it makes you go through, and then you realize that Immortal Jack is walking through the house randomly. He's on a random loop track.
Yep.
So that's really cool because you really don't know where he is, and I've noticed that even when I die, I'll load up and he's just never in the same space. I think that's a super cool thing because I think randomly generated levels for horror games, they tend not to work, but if you make that random element, it works really well. Especially you got to play the VR experience a little bit. Yeah. When I was playing it, I realized that it was quickly the best VR game I've played so far.
Yeah.
But I've told you before in the VR podcast that I thought the best aspect of VR was doing horror, because I think horror is awesome in VR. Like it really puts you into more of like an emotional thing because you're scared. You're doing all these things that you normally wouldn't do.
Yeah. And
this Resident Evil game, it just is completely built for it. And a little bit before the podcast, you were saying you even noticed some things that you're like, I think this would be better in VR. Like when I was doing my second boss fight against Immortal Jack in the garage, and I was hitting him with the car. So these are some spoilers, by the way. Yeah. So
just a bit, not too much.
Yeah,
not too much.
Yeah. For the first couple hours, and I realized that I moved my head to dodge the beam. I wonder if in VR, if I wouldn't have dodged the beam, if I would have died, you know, little things like that. And then when he was on the ground and I was in the car, I couldn't see him around me. Yeah. And it was so scary. I was like looking around and then bam, up on top. This game continues to scare the shit out of me. Yeah. I mean, you saw me play that session that I did in VR. Mm-hmm. I mean, if they get a hold of me or if I make that turn and they're standing there, like it is bam. It's to my heart. I'm like, bam.
Exactly.
It's electric. Exactly. I'm like, ah.
And no, I mean, and it terrifies me too, but like, yeah, the VR just completely changes the game. Like, it's crazy because it's the exact same room. Like, I've traveled this room multiple times because, of course, I've traveled through the house so many times because I'm really bad with the puzzles and the keys. So I'm like, I miss a key and I'm like, I have to go through the entire house to find it. So I mean, I'm used to that. So I'm used to this house. But when I had that VR headset on, and when it didn't turn into I was in a video game and I was going through this kind of space. It turned into a 3D space where I was in that hallway. I can look on the ground and I can see the amount of space and steps I can take from going to where I am to kind of the edge of it. Plus, they did a really good job at making it so you don't have free control when you're looking around horizontally. Instead, it more like they made it more kind of not really on rails, but it's like you have frames.
Yeah, whenever you move your right joystick,
yes,
your vision is moved in frames, and it works. It works really good.
It makes it easy, and it protects you from kind of getting
motion sickness.
The motion sickness, and making it too weird to where you can fully control the camera with your right stick. Instead, it's like you can control the little frames, but you still can completely aim with your head, which actually looked like it made some of the combat easier too. Like when you were fighting the molded, again, spoilers, characters that you'll kind of fight after a couple hours into the game, you were getting a lot of good headshots on him, and honestly, that was harder for me.
The VR, being able to look and wherever I'm looking at, because it is really accurate. I mean, I move my head and look with my eyes, and it almost feels like it's following my eyes, which I know it's not.
Yeah, it's weird that.
Yeah, but it feels like it, and it works really, really good. At first, I had some trouble with it, but yeah, that garage fight again, that's kind of where I started really using it.
Yeah.
But you just get used to that gun. But yeah, do you like the added element and being able to peek outside of doors? I think that is such another jump in gameplay in a sense, because like you said, you can't do that.
Exactly. No, it reminds me of like if you're playing like any of the new Call of Duties or Battlefields, like they add that element into it by being able to like, press L when you're kind of looking around a corner, and it does it, but it's not very intuitive. Nobody really uses it.
Yeah.
And so no, I can't do it in the game if I don't have the VR headset, which I think is a good thing. Like, I don't think I'd ever use it without it. But when you have the headset on and it's as simple as just looking over like that, no, it's extremely intuitive. I didn't get a chance to really try it out when I had the headset on, but I mean, you look just so comfortable, and also terrified when you're looking around the corners and just kind of actually moving your head over and seeing the camera actually kind of turn over. Like
and then that's what's great is that it really puts you in there, and then you can clearly see like that wall in front of you. Like the VR does such a good job. It's such a very good machine, and it really did take me to this game, unfortunately, to really get back into it for a while, because I was like, oh, I gotta do all these wires and stuff, and since I have the Pro, I unplug it, which just adds that element of me not wanting to do it. But man, when you play it and you do it, you are just such a believer. You're like, this is a great product. Like I even just did some other stuff. I got into the video apps again, and I watched some stuff, and I was like, man, this thing is so cool. That's why I texted you. I was like, dude, we are neglecting this machine. This is so nice. But it sucks because at the same time, some developers seem like they're also neglecting it too. You just don't have that AAA experience. We finally have it. Let's hope that more go into it. You know what I mean? And talking about that, like Outlast. Outlast was a game to where you could actually peek. That's something that I remember in that game. That was dope. And Outlast was terrifying. Can you picture Outlast in VR?
Like I couldn't beforehand, but playing this game now, like I do. I think they can do it. I think any of these horror games can really last, especially like the first person ones. Now I'm kind of interested to see if maybe they can do some sort of third person. But now I think it's possible. Do I want to play them though?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's intense. It's a very intense experience.
It really is.
Like the first night I played Resident Evil, and really, that's another thing that the game does really good at. The beginning of the game is really terrifying. Yeah. That is the most scariest part of the game so far for me. Just Mia. Mia is the girl you're looking for, and she is just so scary. The scene in VR, at the very beginning of the game, you're going to be walking down these stairs, and it's all dark, and she's just coming up the stairs at you, and it is just the most frightening thing in VR, because it is just pitch black. And they do such a good job, because I would never experience that in real life in any other circumstance. You know what I mean? This allows me to... because I love horror movies, so this really allows me to jump in and just be like, wow, this is me experiencing it in a sense with like a safety net, and it's fantastic. Like, I am just like, oh, give me some crazy shit. Like, dude, give me a Saw game. Give me a Saw VR game. Really, something really fucked up.
Dude, and yeah, like at this point, like, yeah, I'm open for anything. And I mean, I won't lie, like I do like the fact that they spent a lot of time on like the VR. Like, it is a beautiful game, but I mean, when it comes down to it, it is a Resident Evil game. It is all about, you have like these boss fights, you have these weird locks that open up. I mean, these weird keys that open up these weird locks. You have
you have to
herb that you have to combine with stuff in order to
make your first aid, and all
exactly.
that.
Yeah. So when it comes, like, this is a Resident Evil. Sure, it's first person,
and sure, it's a completely different game. Like we said, it feels like a new IP, but like the essence of the world is completely Resident Evil, and they did a great job with that, because the demo kind of lacked that. The demo seemed like that wasn't really the case at all.
It looked more like it was Outlast, definitely.
Yeah.
But now it's now...
Or PT. PT is really exactly what it looked like, yeah.
But we, disclaimer, like, we both haven't finished this game, so, I mean, we don't know how linked to the original Resident Evils it really is at this point.
Yeah,
like maybe it has nothing to do with it.
We're just about
maybe there's
3
more
to
stuff.
4 hours in right now.
I'm a little over 4 hours in. I've beaten. I'm a little farther than the third boss. I'm pretty sure I'm right before the fourth one. I don't know how many bosses there are, but I feel like I can probably beat this game in a couple more nights if I tried. But I'm starting to take it a little slower. I just got some other games like Kingdom Hearts, and so I'm giving it a second. But like even watching you play it, I think when I go back home tonight, I might want to try another level because I'm like all into this game again.
Yeah, no, it's so good. I can't wait to keep going in it in VR. They say it's about a 15-hour experience.
I've heard so many different things.
Yeah. They say that you can get through it pretty fast with around 10 hours. So that's nice. I that'd be nice if I was going at that pace. I don't think I am though, especially in VR. Because, like you said, there's that filter effect. When you're not playing it in VR, you can go and you can run through. You could run through these hallways, through these hallways. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But when you're in VR, like, it's hard to open those doors sometimes. And you're like, but then you start to get to those points where you know nothing's going to spawn and, you know, things like that. So you start to run. Or if you die, you know exactly what's coming. So you start to run through that. So that's nice.
Exactly.
But and that's what makes the game actually really fun, I think, is when you know, after you've been scared.
After you get that scared,
and then you go through and then you're like, oh yeah, headshot. Let me find this herb. Let me get these bullets, you know. Oh, now I know how to change out this shotgun or, you know, do all this stuff. It's like, it really makes you feel like you're in it.
And I think that was always just like Resident Evil 4, you know, which is, you know, my favorite one out of the franchise.
Amazing puzzles.
Your first time, it is a terrifying game.
Yeah.
Your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth time that you play that game because it's so much fun to replay it. Is it a scary game then? No.
Maybe one of the best replay value games ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. When you get the fucking Tommy gun, when you get
like the suit,
things.
the mafia suit, you know, and then Ashley gets her suits and stuff like that. Oh yeah.
That game was so much fun to keep playing over and over. So I mean, yeah.
So getting into that, what if we had started attaching some other Resident Evils to VR? What do you think we would get? So kind of off the top of my head, I want to just bring it back to the first one. They've redone the first one for PS4 already. Mm-hmm. I got it actually because it was free on PS Plus. So that's dope.
I still haven't got to play it
yet. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. And what's nice is that it really, you know, it's been remade on rails before for like the Wii and stuff like that. Yeah. And I think that would be such a great game to bring to it because it really is mostly a puzzles game. You don't fight a whole lot. Definitely wouldn't fight as much as RE7 probably. You can make it that way. But it's just a very in-depth game, and it would be nice to be in the real original universe of, you know, Resident Evil and what that is, and seeing Wesker in front of you and seeing Chris and meeting all these people. I think that'd be such a cool experience for Resident Evil fans because, you know, right now, like we were saying, it's very detached from the series. Well, you nailed it. Yeah. So now bring that to your franchise. Yeah. You know, redo those games. What you're probably gonna say Resident Evil 4. What do you think would be the best like levels or parts in it? There's so many great parts of that games.
Definitely, it would be potato sack fucking chainsaw guy.
Oh, through the first little village.
Yeah, and whether it be first person or third person though, that's the thing I don't know. Like I think they've done first person well. They could make it first person, and it would be amazing. And I mean, that would be terrifying even thinking about it. But I think VR can still do third person in a well way that we haven't seen yet. So I mean, I would be fine with Capcom trying whatever they can.
I would like to see a really tight over the shoulder, you know,
something like
super
that.
tight
like,
to where
like super tight, but you can also like you're looking
you
around.
Move. Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
You can still move your head, and even though your character's looking like this, you can still kind of look around. Or I don't know how they would do it, but like
another thing that I haven't seen a lot of is in Playroom VR for PlayStation. They have that little like just that platformer game with the bots. You know, and you go around and get the coins, and you're like kind of staring down at it, and you're like watching your little guy go around and stuff. Like that is also a great aspect, I think, a lot of VR games. Just think if you were playing Resident Evil Mercenaries like that on remember the
exactly
the
yeah,
game
where it's more
after
like a
Resident Evil
third
4,
person.
yeah, exactly. And maybe even not third person, but even over the top to where you're watching your player like this and the whole map is set up around you.
Yeah.
And you're watching him walk around and you can see people coming and see people coming. You know, going that'd be pretty sweet.
No, yeah, especially like in VR. Like again, like let's try these things out. Like we don't know what works best on VR, and like I would play that. That would be cool to kind of feel like you're over the top on that.
And you're watching a bunch of like smaller people.
Exactly, and you can actually move, and you can completely change your perspective on it. Like,
and
I
then
think that'd
maybe
be
even
interesting.
just like kind of how they do in Resident Evil 4 when you go into Leon's site and you can just kind of look around the room. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then that would be able to do anything close up. So like if your character walked into a door that had to read a note, hit that button, bam, you see right in front of you, click the note.
You just go right into first person, like
Yeah.
that, and then you are moving around.
Yeah, see, that'd be amazing. Another thing that I was saying is, which sucks because there isn't a lot of it right now, especially like to where you're both like walking around, you can kind of see each other. But a co-op, which is what Resident Evil 5 did best, I think. They had a great little co-op thing, and it'd be cool because, like, let's say that you had the VR at your house, I had the VR at my house, okay? We did a private match to where it was just me and you. We loaded up, and it's the same controls, first person or that tight over the shoulder, but we can just see each other. I think even first person would work really good because we'd be able to just see each other, and we just control and we talk to each other too, just do the same thing, and we both walk through this whole environment together with guns, and we go up and we get chased, because remember in Resident Evil 5 it's that really like Lahara fucking like deserty type of vibe,
Yeah.
so I think it'd be a cool experience, because something that also is really nice in VR is like that war scene. So being in that bright desert area, that would probably look really good in VR. That'd be nice. And then, like I say, co-op VR is something that we really don't have enough of.
Yeah, we don't have it like in a not much at all, especially in like a full AAA experience like that. That would be really interested to see anything like that. Definitely.
Like we could do, Eve Valkyrie and stuff, but that's different. It's a flying game, that's not really the same thing. Like when you can like see each other, and like pass items and stuff, it's a way more intuitive thing than me being in like with my fake body. That's my favorite thing about all these flying games is my fake body. I look down and I'm like, been doing them squats.
It could be like a Resident Evil and Left 4 Dead kind of thing.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, especially like if it was 4-player, that'd be dope.
See?
And then one, but that'd be cool. That'd be a really big incentive to get VR.
Definitely, especially if they can make it away. Like Left 4 Dead, like that was a thing back in the day.
Oh, Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like Destiny raiding.
Yeah.
You would go through these levels, try to find your witches and all this stuff, and oh man, Left 4 Dead was such a good game.
It was fantastic.
And then Dead Island had to come and take it away, and everybody was really stoked about Dead Island, but then look where Dead Island got you.
Nowhere.
Pretty
sure they canceled Dead Island too.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that happened.
No, I'm pretty sure they did. It was supposed to, it was announced at E3 and everything, canceled.
Well, which was the one that did come out though?
It was the
Recently.
collection.
No, there was another one. There was it was made by kind of the same developer, and it was like the parkour one.
Dying Light?
Dying Light.
Yeah, Dying Light.
Dying
yeah.
Light. Dying
But
Light's
that's
dope.
that's not the same IP.
It's not the same IP, but I'm pretty sure it was still like Quicksilver or something like that.
Oh, I gotcha.
So it's still like produced by the same team.
Yeah, but still, Dead Island. That's where it got you.
No,
Dead Island. The first one was dope.
I mean,
it was nice. You can't lie that
it
you
was
had fun
okay.
playing it. It was like the game that you didn't really realize that you didn't need to play, because it was like all these other elements, but it was just zombies. Like it was just
Exactly.
Fallout. It was just Fallout zombies.
Dying Light was definitely better.
See, I didn't have a chance to play it.
Much
How
better.
would a parkour game like that be in VR, you think?
I think it would work completely well. Like, I mean, at first I thought maybe it would be a little too disorientating or something like that, but I don't really think so. Like, even with like Resident Evil, like sure you were moving around a lot, moving left and right, and I mean, I'm sure when you're fighting the bosses and stuff, you're being flipped around, and I don't think it'd be too disorientating. So I think that game would completely work. I think that would be a fantastic ad. And now I'm starting to think about that. Like, now that this game has come out, it's like the first full AAA.
Yeah, it is.
Game.
It's great, and it's an exclusive too.
Yeah.
Matt that got the HTC Vive real heard about that.
I bet.
Because it's the first real thing, and it's like, oh man, you can't even play it.
Well, that's what he gets for getting, a better.
The better, clear device.
The better, clear.
No,
device,
he has some great games. There is this game. It's called like something Labs, and it's like this archery thing. And dude, it is the besides RE7 probably my best VR experience. Like, it's so accurate with these bows and arrows, and you're like hitting all these stick figures that are attacking your wall. And I mean, you're just, if you're good at it, you're just like headshots, and you feel like Legolas. Like, when you're done with it, you're like, "Wah! I am He-Man. This is my castle. Where's my babes?" No, seriously, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's an amazing experience. You got to come over and play it.
Right.
And they also have those awesome. They're gonna have the Rick and Morty job simulator. And then the creators made another game, and it made me like play Xylophone Bones, but I was doing Xylophone Bones, and these skulls, they were talking to me really dirty, and one was a girl's skull and one was a boy's skull, and every time I'd play the Xylophone, they'd be like, oh yeah, and I thought that I had to make them jizz or something, so I was like, and then Matt was like, you gotta just turn around and drink the potion, dude. And I was like, oh man, I thought I had to make these skeletons jizz or something, dude. It's because seriously, and then because when you would stop, they would just be like, oh, why'd you stop? And then the chick would be like, you know what I hate when you just leave me hanging. And just things. It was such an adult VR game. It was awesome, and it was it was all in Rick and Morty voices. That was
really?
The best. Yeah, like
because it was still John Harmon.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's like, hey, why are you touching my battery? Hey, put my battery back. What are you doing? Like, oh man, it's awesome. Great mature experience in VR.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, fuck. I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah.
So,
but he doesn't have that Resident Evil 7.
I fucking wouldn't.
That flip flops of having VR right now. Different worlds. But he has the dual camera setup. That's nice.
Is that what the Vive has?
Yeah, dual camera. Really tracks your shit. That's why I was able to be Legolas.
You also need that space and shit, though.
Yeah.
Like, Vive wouldn't work in this room.
Oh, it wouldn't work out there either.
It wouldn't even work out there?
I mean, there's some games where you could legitimately, like, walk around and do some stuff. There's this paintball game that's really awesome.
Damn.
But yeah, just food for thought. But that's great, because then you have Sony coming in there like a giant saying, we don't need that shit. It's like they're almost pulling a Nintendo. It's like kind of being Nintendo right now. They're like, we're not going to really try to be the best there is out there. Yeah. We're going to limit the video size, the quality size, resolution, and what it looks like, and it doesn't matter because the experience will be off the chain. And it was. You were freaking out right when you put in on that Resident Evil for the first time, because you haven't played in a while.
Exactly.
And you were just like, you were even laughing, just like when I put that donut to my face in Job Simulator, and it took a bite, and I lost my shit.
Well, again, it's like I've been in this room, I don't know how many times, and when I put that on, I wasn't just in that room. Like, I was in that room.
Yeah.
There was 3D space, which completely changed the way I played that game. Completely. Like, sure, I was looking around, but it was like a video game. Being able to actually look around and see how much room I had in that hallway, and it blew me away, like, completely. Maybe if I started that way, it wouldn't have as much, but playing the game as much as I did and going into that was completely shocking.
Now, I think a big thing about that is the behind you effect. Because when you're playing a game, there's behind you, but there's never really a behind you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you put on a VR set, there is seriously a behind you.
There is.
And there's depth behind you, and there's space behind you. There's room for people to come up. There's room for whispers, for doors to close, for everything, and it's terrifying. I hate looking behind me and seeing a long hallway. That's one of the most terrifying things in Resident Evil 7 is the hallway. And I'm not even outside yet. I'm not going to be able to even compute outside. That is going to be straight up scary. All that space around me. Because here's one thing about a horror game, okay? if I'm in a hallway, there's only so many places the bad guy could come from. This door or that door, or behind me over here. But when you're outside, they could come from everywhere. There is no door that you can keep looking at to make sure no one's there. There is no wall protecting you.
I mean, you're right, but at the same time, there's so many times where they can just jump out of a wall, or jump through the window.
Yeah, that's true. But once you've played the game like we have, you kind of realize that hasn't happened a lot.
Oh, exactly. Or you're used to, like, if it does happen.
Yeah, you start to learn the game logic.
Yeah.
You kind of start to learn the experience and what it's about,
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I've always thought that. I'm like, man, the Kool-Aid could crash through here right now. You know what I mean?
Any moment.
Immortal Kool-Aid, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just like with like dead bodies and stuff. Like,
oh, no, Kool-Aid, man.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
It's just like, this isn't Kool-Aid in my picture. It's blood. It's like, oh my God.
You go to drink it, you're like, yeah, oh my God, this is human hair.
That's the DLC. Wouldn't that be a funny,
Kool-Aid
quirky?
Man?
Just think if they did a funny, quirky DLC like that. Like, you're in the house and Kool-Aid Man's coming to get you. And that's straight up the DLC. Like, an hour and a half. Hour and a half DLC.
If they can make, like, a fucking creepy-ass Kool-Aid Man.
Even if it was just straight up legitimate Kool-Aid Man, like, not being creepy almost even too.
No, I think they could just really make
just
him
with a
super
sad face
like,
though.
Just like have him broken everywhere and like spilling out of like his gut.
Oh yeah,
like,
or up on top constantly spilling.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
And shit like floating around in him, like not so much body parts, but like skin.
Instead of the Kool-Aid falling out and hitting the floor, the drips go and then slowly just get into like this vortex of Kool-Aid that spins around the top of him.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's the next level scary Kool-Aid Man.
That's it.
That's great.
It's happening.
That's fantastic. What do you think of the Baker's family? Do you think they're bad? They're good bad guys? Do you think they're just like?
they're definitely. I think they're definitely bad guys. And I think it has.
No. I mean, like, do you think they're good bad guys? Like, do you think they're good characters?
I mean, like. Yeah, not so much. Like, I mean, I wouldn't like try to argue with anyone if they said they weren't. I'd be like, eh. But so far, I like the way it's working. I like that. I've experienced a lot of the dad, and I've experienced a bit of the mom, but I know I'm going to probably be having a boss fight here really soon with the mom, and I think it's going to even lead with the son. And I think if they're smart, they're going to make it like progressively creepier or progressively harder, and I expect that they'll make the right choice on which one they do. So in that regard, I'm interested in the mystery behind it. And again, this is just kind of like our first impressions of the series, of the game. So, we don't fully know yet.
Yeah, no, I think so far my favorite character that I like is Mia. Yeah. She is hands down the scariest character. Yeah,
definitely scary, and you're also interested, like
because it's like I get, and obviously your character in the game still wants to figure it out. I mean, he went all the way there for
wants to bang.
So he wants to bang. Yeah. He wants to get that hero bang out there.
That dick wet.
Yeah.
You're
just like. So you know that it's gonna just be a story throughout the whole thing, and I mean I don't know if you've ever seen any movie, but the chick obviously is not gonna make it, right? That's my impression so far. That's my calling right there. I'm saying that she doesn't make it.
I think she makes it, but you don't make it.
I guess. I wouldn't say I don't make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be weird.
Maybe she dies first, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
The next calling. So
I would definitely bet that I die. If I'm not already dead and this is some weird fucking Inception shit, Shutter Island.
I don't know. I kind of want to fucking stand at the fucking end of that shit and just beat it,
And like you survived.
Yeah.
Like Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, I kind of
like
want
a
that.
real.
But even more ending. Like, holy fuck. Like, you are fucking, like, from this fucking final boss, and you're fucking terrified, and you can't believe you won it, and then it's just your character, and he's, like, looking out the fucking foundation, and everything behind you's on fire, and I don't know.
Where you've gotten, has
for
any
that.
heads split or anything?
No.
No? I'm waiting for a head
I
split.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, like,
would
I
not be
thought that was
surprised.
happening when Immortal Joe caught up to me. I was like, this homie's head's gonna
Yeah.
split.
The next round of normal, like, enemies per se, I guess you can say, aren't very the most creative, and I don't think they work out too well. But again, everything after that, I'm still, like, waiting for it. I'm, like, still excited for. But I mean, do you like this Resident Evil?
I do. I think I'd have a much different experience, and I feel like I don't have the raw experience not playing it on the VR.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if I did play it just, on TV screen, and I feel like it would be good.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be good, and I
Yeah.
would like it. You know what I mean? I feel all.
Just not might like it as much.
Yeah, I might not like it as much because I really do. I like right now you were telling me you're like the boss fight. I hope I'm like, I like all of that. Like, seems like it's gonna be so good. Like, I want to be
Yeah.
looking up at something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I want to see like this just like disaster or something. You know what I mean? Like, I can't wait to see that. Like the epic ending. That's the most thrilling thing about this AAA VR experience is I'm gonna have that just huge great ending. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
There's a couple endings, so
That's good to know.
yeah. So I don't know which one I'm gonna get.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely for me right now. I already think it's an amazing game. I love it. But even though I'm not playing it on the VR now, which I do plan on playing on the VR, more of it at least. My brother's really interested in it. So he wants to. Fortunately, I'll probably already beaten the game, so it won't be too many jump scares. But playing it in 4K for me and HDR is like a real treat. So I mean, like, I'm sure I would like it either way, but maybe you don't have the VR unit, but you do have kind of HDR, or you do have 4K. I think this game also is a real surprise hit that not a lot of people are talking about, to where this is
It was like, wow,
graphically
this works
beautiful.
for that
Yeah.
Pro and for that
Yeah,
S.
yeah.
Like, it really
Yeah.
stands out with those HDR settings,
Exactly.
which is good. I'm glad that these big companies like Capcom, which, a company like Capcom could also choose very easily
yeah.
to not do that.
They could have made, Resident Evil 7, and it would be about Leon being old, and
It's like
yeah.
it's like this old like Western type
Yeah.
of game, like this old Western.
and you're fighting.
I just picture
slime
Leon on a
people.
chair, just.
And he's like, fighting stuff. They could have, they really could have fucked up with this. And I think that's the biggest part we have to take out of this is we have to support this game because we have to show Capcom
That we want something like this.
want this. We can't say it's the best game ever because it's not, like, even my brother, he's beaten it. And he was like, I think it should have been a little longer. I didn't really like this. I didn't like this. I like this. And I'm like, either way, we have to focus on the stuff we loved and the stuff we want them to do more, so that they realize that, and then the next one they make is going to be an improvement on this, and it's not going to go back to like any of their original roots or completely change it to an unrecognizable series. So we have to support this game.
Do you keep making first-person games? Is that something that Capcom does now for Resident Evil?
I think they test it. Like, I think they should drop the baggage they have from the old series. Yes, they, for the most part, they shouldn't have Leon. They shouldn't have this, and I think that them starting anew was a good thing. Maybe they kind of be more like Final Fantasy or something, where they are all different. But that being for having to be first person, no. I think if this game was third person, I think it would be just as good of a game.
If this game ends up connecting deeply with certain characters, are you going to be disappointed or intrigued?
If this game specifically,
Yeah.
no, because I think it was behind enough to where I still don't expect it, and I think I might have kind of overheard maybe there is a small connection, and that's fine because I have no idea right now. And that's actually cool, but I don't want it to be fully apparent. Like, you're obviously playing as a younger Leon, or you're obviously playing as, I don't want that. But I mean, if they can somehow throw in a little nudge, like, oh, this character that you met with, actually, that's an older version of this character. Like, that's awesome. I'm all for that.
What would you do of remakes? What would you do about remakes if they did them like in this style? Like, what would you do if they remade a Resident Evil 4 like this?
Like more like first person and stuff.
Yeah,
like that?
like maybe not now, but
down. I
5 years down the line.
100% down.
You think?
Yeah, I would play the shit out of that.
Especially if you had to try to
like those
keep
fucking,
Ashley with you.
Yeah, those chanting.
No, fuck that.
fucking
No,
bitches.
no Ashley.
Yeah,
No Ashley.
Take Ashley out of there.
Yeah.
But yeah, chainsaw guy and shit like that. Like,
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Like, why not? But at the same time,
I feel like you could make that if you really wanted to.
They could, but I think I would rather them keep trying to make new stuff. But who knows? I mean,
Capcom loves making money off Resident Evil 4.
Exactly.
That's probably their most favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
That game has been released more times than, I don't know, I've gotten like cell phones. I don't know if that's a good comparison, but I feel like I should have more cell phones than how many times they've released Resident Evil.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You got your PS2. You got your
GameCube started,
your
PS2,
Wii.
and then Wii, 360, PS3, PC, PS4, Xbox One.
Yeah.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah. I've probably had more than 8 phones though.
Yeah. Yeah, you love.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I bet you there's a couple ports that were missing.
Probably.
Something. I bet you there's something, man.
Fucking
Wii U port? Is there a Wii U port?
definitely not.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Wii U doesn't deserve it.
No, they don't.
Nintendo Switch deserves it.
I really tried to do that. I purposely tried to do that.
Get your Nintendo Switch.
Get your Nintendo
March
Switch. Do you think
Zelda.
Capcom will port a Resident Evil? Not Resident Evil 7. They're not going to do that.
Fuck no.
You don't think so?
No.
I bet you within a year, Resident Evil 4 will be on it.
I bet within 4 years we'll get fucking Revelations.
Revelations was a great game.
Yeah, but 4 years from now.
It was I personally think it was 3DS's best game.
That's the 3DS. That's a freaking 240 resolution screen.
Yeah. You're like, fucking Nintendo. All right, well.
Get with it.
Well, we should be getting our Switches soon. I think next we are going to talk about if DC Comics can ever make a successful movie. That's our next topic. That's our next topic. Get fucking ready for it. Pull up your britches. Psych. I don't know. It might not even be you. It might be Joel. Get your britches ready.
Oh, yeah. But my britches will be ready either way.
Do you keep your britches around your ankles?
I mean, when I'm with the ladies.
GBW out, motherfucker.
Thanks for listening. Like what you hear? Subscribe now and feel free to drop us a rate and review. Stay current with all things Geeks Between Worlds.